Our dog, the bounty hunter relationship was started when we lived in the safe house. So Austin was only a few months old, and I think it was like a Saturday afternoon, and we're trying to find something to watch. And, whenever it's a weird time of day and there's none of your regular shows on TV, that's when you discover new shows. Stuff you've never watched before, never heard of, whatever. And so flipping around, and that's when I came on to see this show that was Dog the Bounty Hunter. And at first I was like, this is craziness, this is madness. But it's captivating. And then at the end, when you're like seeing Dog and his family pray for the people they've captured and just actually caring about people, it makes you see that there's, a point to this craziness, and that there are some people that are trying to spread some good in this world. And now, through the years of watching them and seeing how they care about their fans and care about people in general, it's, I don't know, just refreshing, because so many people are not that way anymore. Anyway, so when the last time we were in Hawaii was when Austin, I think, was 2. And I got sucked in with the bribery of Alice from wanting to go on a trip. And so this was after we'd already lived in the safe house and established our own life, and sort of lived in the Vancouver area, and Alice was stalking us, and I stupidly got sucked back into that cycle. So we went to Hawaii with them, and that was the biggest shit show in the world. I mean, I shouldn't have expected anything less. Alice was freaking out the entire trip from the moment we got there. And that was like the final straw after the horror of that trip and all the fighting all the way home and yelling and screaming at me and everything. That's when I completely cut her off after that. Anyway, so one of the things that happened on that trip was, of course, I wanted to go to the Dog the Bounty Hunter store, and we were on our way there. Of course, I was in the back seat of the rental car with Austin, and Alice and Frank were in the front, and Alice can't handle driving anywhere. She has massive anxiety in the car and yells and screams at everybody. She wants to have control, but she won't drive herself. She always forces Frank to drive, even when he's drunk. And so once again, yeah, it was directions that were pissing her off, because I didn't know exactly where the store was. I mean, how the hell would I know where someplace I've never been before was, especially when it's not like we're lucky enough to live in Hawaii. And so she's freaking out, and I'm trying to figure out the directions from the back seat. And we weren't like lost. We really weren't like driving around for hours and frustrated to hell. Like, this was like just on our way there and like figuring it out. And I'm really good with directions. And so I couldn't understand why. Well, I can never understand anything that Alice does, because she's just a freaking nutcase. But she was, freaking out already. And so she's yelling and screaming at Frank and me and freaking out in the car. And of course, we didn't get to continue finding the place. So I never got to go to the Dog the Bounty Hunter store and get anything for Austin, because Alice flipped out and made us turn around and leave. And that was the end of that. I was super annoyed, and especially since I don't have a credit card and I can't order anything online ever, I didn't get my chance to go to the store. And when, of course, you know, when you're going to the store, you're hoping you're going to meet somebody from the family. And that chance was taken from me, but Alice wouldn't want anything to do with any of them anyway, because she's a hyper judgmental, psychotic bitch. I mean, she would just take one look at any member of their family and be judgmental and think that they're complete crazy, and just based on, you know, their unique style. Me, on the other hand, Alice criticizes me all the time too and says I look like a fucking moron half the time, but you know, that's the part of having self-confidence and doing what you want and being secure in your own skin, because when you have your own style, you don't give a shit what other people say. I mean, dog doesn't care if his kids make fun of what he's wearing or what he looks like, or when he has feathers in his hair or whatever. I mean, when you like something, you like something, and you don't give a shit what other people have to say about it. And that's also what makes you be able to pull off that look, is your self-confidence. I mean, if you don't have self-confidence, you look bad in anything you wear. It doesn't matter what you wear then, right? So, whatever. Anyway, that's just Alice. She's a psychotic, judgmental psychopath. I know that's redundant, but unfortunately, that's where my child is, because she's paying off some idiot social worker. And once you have one social worker who's made a mistake, the whole whack of them, they just back each other up. They don't reverse their mistakes. It's like dealing with dirty cops, and when you report them, it's their own internal investigation. So there is no recourse, because they just cover for themselves. It's just like, you know, somebody getting set up by a cop with fake evidence and whatever. I mean, that's why I can't even get a court date. I mean, 3.5 years and there's not even a court date. They don't follow any of their rules. They don't follow their own mandate. Everybody that's ever looked at this case says, what the hell is going on? Why haven't you even seen your child? Why are you not having any contact? And why is there no court dates? I mean, this is completely insane and nobody can understand it. And then that's why I end up looking like a liar, because there are no answers. And so people think that I'm hiding something because I don't have the answers. But what do you do when you're dealing with a brick wall that won't give you any answers and just refuses to have any communication? They just have all the power. And if they don't want to tell you anything, they're not going to tell you anything. They don't want you to talk to your kid, you're not going to talk to your kid. That's why Austin hasn't been allowed to see or talk to anybody he's ever known in his entire life. It's like, okay, for argument's sake, let's say I was a bad mom, did something wrong. Why is it then that Austin is not allowed to talk to anybody else he's ever known in his entire life? If I'm a bad person and you're cutting me off, why are you cutting everybody else off? You're trying to claim that every single person Austin has ever loved and ever known in his entire life is a bad person? Like, that, there's something really fucked up with that picture. And nobody is standing up to do what's right for Austin. And he has no idea of the truth of anything that's going on. He's just been brainwashed to think that everybody he's ever known is a bad person. And that I don't love him and don't want him. And that's because Alice is a psychotic, judgmental person who hates herself. Because only somebody who hates himself is so judgmental and psychotic. And I know I'm being so repetitive. There's like, how do you describe somebody that is just that way? It's like dealing with the craziest soap opera villain you could ever imagine that you don't even believe it's real. And that's been my life. And that's why people who know me don't understand why I'm not an East Hastings crack whore. Because I've never been an addict. I've never done any of the things that somebody else would do to try and cope or forget about all the shit that I've had to survive. And somehow I'm still standing and I'm still fighting for my child. In every single moment that you just want to be dying because this pain is so horrible, the only thing you can do is just try and think about how you have to stay alive to tell Austin the truth. Because if I die, then the truth will just get buried with me, because nobody is fighting for him. Everybody just thinks that somebody else should be helping me and somebody else should be doing that. Their lives are too busy. Their lives are too complicated. Nobody else is knocking down the doors of the social workers and demanding to see Austin and demanding for answers or anything. When it's not your child, you just seem to think it's not your problem. As they say, it takes a village. Well, where's my village? Everybody just thinks that it's my job to fight for Austin, but nobody listens to me because I'm just being railroaded and I'm just one person. If people would stand up with me, then maybe something would be getting done, but everybody just acts like their problems are more important than my child's life. Even the people I know who have enough money to help to get a proper lawyer and, you know, file the lawsuits that need to be filed and fight this fight, like, they can't be bothered to sacrifice that money for my child's life, even though they can afford it. And people just want to think that, oh, I mean, not the people that know the truth about my life, but everybody on the outside world just wants to pretend that, oh, because we're in the richest neighborhood in Canada, or one of the richest neighborhoods in Canada, that, oh, it can't be that bad, oh, it's not true, or whatever. Really? Look at the, what is it, the Melendez brothers, or whatever they were called? I mean, they were so abused, they killed their parents. And they were in a rich neighborhood. Like, I don't know why people seem to think that just because you're wealthy, you can't be abused. That's such a farce. That's why Alice is the Wicked Witch of West Vancouver.